Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores. We have two things to talk about, two big things. Jay-Z interested in buying some minority stake in the Washington football team. Will he be a part of the entire rebranding process if he becomes part owner of the team? And then secondly, Dan Snyder and Jason Wright. A lot of interesting news and updates coming out about this potential new stadium in 2027. Back to DC. Will the stadium be state of the art? A lot of the info that we're getting right now has me very optimistic. We're going to get into all of that and more. And before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Please hit that subscription button. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately every time I release an informative video like this one. Every time I release any of my controversial, opinionated videos, any of my film sessions I'm going to do on the entire Washington football team rookie class. Stay tuned for all of that, man. Also, check out all of my playlists. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have one funny playlist that you can check out for all of my funny videos. But, man, without further ado, let's get it. Let's start with the Jay-Z thing. All right, so first of all, how all of this started, how the Jay-Z could potentially buy a piece of the Washington football team rumor started, was that multiple media outlets, led by Burgundy Blog, reported that the rapper and business mogul, Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, is actively diverting assets to position himself to purchase a stake in the Washington football team ownership. And then all of the reports have basically said, like, nothing is imminent, this isn't 100% guaranteed, and things take months, and sometimes things go haywire and break down and go wrong and things like that. But it is safe to report that Jay-Z is interested in buying a piece of the Washington football team, and he's positioning himself financially to be able to do so if he really wants to. Will he? We're not sure yet, but the potential is definitely there, and there's multiple reasons why this may happen, and also multiple reasons why we should be excited about this. First of all, the NFL has never had a black majority owner in NFL history, and Jay-Z could potentially come that. I know a lot of people, the vast majority of the Burgundy and Gold Nation, hate Dan Snyder and would prefer anybody over Dan Snyder, including Jay-Z, Jeff Bezos, with those rumors going around and things like that. But even though the NFL has never had a majority black owner in its history, I still don't even think Jay-Z will be the first, at least if it's part of the Washington football team. Because even if Dan Snyder gives away some of the team, I think he wants to be the majority owner at the end of the day, no matter what. So even if Jay-Z does end up owning some of the Washington football team, I believe Dan Snyder would only give away a minority stake and will still be the majority owner like he used to be. Because right now he's the entire owner. Him and his family bought up the other 100%. As you remember, back in March, the NFL approved a $450 million debt waiver so that Dan Snyder could buy out the other minority owners in Fred Smith, Dwight Schar, and Robert Rothman. And Snyder and his family ended up having to pay up to $950 million for that remaining 40% of the team. Again, with $450 million of it being a debt waiver by the NFL. And even though he's full-time owner right now, he was a majority owner for a reason. And that debt waiver, you know, that's more like a loan, if anything. So I could definitely see him looking to bring in some people with big money attached to them to buy a nice percentage of the team so that he can pay off that debt. And who better than Jay-Z, honestly, in certain ways. You know, bringing Jay-Z aboard doesn't instantly make us win more games, but I do definitely feel like he helps us open certain doors that maybe Dan Snyder and other guys can't, as far as like media production and overall branding. Also feel like we've seen even with the Brooklyn Nets, when he owned that small ownership and helped move the Nets to Brooklyn and their entire rebrand, he had a lot to deal with how this team went from being one of the worst teams in the league, especially after that trade they made for Paul Pierce and KG on the tail ends of their career, and they gave up all of those first round picks. The Nets were terrible, but them being moved to Brooklyn and their rebranding definitely helped to attract Kyrie Irving to come there. KD definitely came there because of Kyrie, and then James Harden was able to come there as part of a trade because Kyrie and KD were definitely there. So Jay-Z definitely played a big part in why the Nets are what they are today. And I would love for us to take on a similar transformation. I mean, granted, we're already building towards the future. Ron Rivera has already changed the culture and everything, but as far as the rebranding, the name, the logo and everything like that, bringing in a wider audience that can grow and love our team. Because, you know, unless you're really born in the DMV, you don't really see 8-year-olds finding a love for football and the Washington football team being that team that gets them into it. 8-year-olds outside of the DMV don't grow up Washington football team fans, and I feel like Jay-Z would definitely help encourage more newly acquired fans and expanding the Burgundy and Gold brand and family beyond just the DMV area. Because I'm from Atlanta, but I was born in Maryland. That's why I'm a Burgundy and Gold fan. And maybe even if I were born in Atlanta, my mom and them probably would have had enough influence on me to make me a Burgundy and Gold fan anyway. But the majority of why I'm a Burgundy and Gold fan from Atlanta is because I was born in Maryland. Again, people not born in the DMV, these younger generations don't really care about the Washington football team, again, outside of the DMV. I feel like Jay-Z could definitely help with that at the very least. And again, we've seen how he helped the Brooklyn Nets turn their entire rebrand around. And of course, he wasn't able to start up his Roc Nation Sports and Entertainment Agency until after he sold his stake in the Nets, because that's a conflict of interest, that's tampering. So he would definitely have to separate from his own Roc Nation Sports and Entertainment Agency to be able to buy Washington football team stake. Again, that's tampering. That's cheating. But I'm pretty sure he'd be willing to do it. But what's really interesting is that the Washington football team just a couple of months ago hired a new chief financial officer in Greg Resch. And that same Greg Resch previously held the exact same position, chief financial officer, for Jay-Z's sports and entertainment agency, Roc Nation. He was literally Jay-Z's right-hand man for Roc Nation. And that connection cannot be overlooked or understated. That is a real connection right there. I definitely feel like Jay-Z's respect, his fame, his connections can help this team in some way that maybe Snyder and Jason Wright and these other guys can't. I'm not saying him alone is about to come turn this team around, but I definitely feel like he can help to at least some small extent and at least provide some excitement. And what's also crazy is that the Washington football team has been working with Jay-Z's Roc Nation for a while now through marketing and media relations already. So the blueprint is already laid down. The connections are there. They're strong. And again, this all started because it's reported that Jay-Z is interested in buying stock. This is not coming out of nowhere. This is not just speculation. Oh, Jay-Z has connections to the Washington football team. Let's make it happen. The catalyst for all of this is that Jay-Z is reportedly interested in buying a minority stake in this team. But ultimately, if he's a minority shareholder, of course, he wouldn't have as much control as Snyder. So that may be a slight turnoff for Jay-Z, but maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he just wants some influence and wants to be a part of a big money brand in the Washington football team and helping redevelop that brand into what we had back in the 80s as being a true national brand and international brand. One thing that kind of sucks though is he is a Cowboys fan, so that makes everything weird. But at the end of the day, money talks. If he's helping us somehow rebrand and add fans to the team, making the team more interesting and entertaining and more of a widespread brand and a long domino effect, helping us win games in any way, I don't care what fan he is. He could be a Falcons fan for all I care. I think at the very least Jay-Z can help with our rebranding. Maybe he doesn't directly affect how many games we win, but I definitely think he helps our rebranding in a big way, at the very least. And now we got to talk about this potential new stadium in 2027. First of all, TMZ called Dan Snyder and Jason Wright in LA, and they basically broke down how they were in LA to tour that stadium. That state-of-the-art stadium is beautiful, and they're going all around America and to Europe to tour their stadiums, not even just football, but soccer as well, their version of football. And I love that. They're getting ideas, they're getting inspiration from all of the best stadiums, not only just around the DMV, not only just in America, but around the world in general. I love that. That gives me a lot of optimism that our new stadium will be cutting edge, like Mercedes-Benz Stadium down here in Atlanta, the new Las Vegas Stadium for the Raiders, the new LA Stadium for the Rams. I want one of those new ahead of its time stadiums. All types of features, all type of advanced technologies, things that are really great for fan engagement, very comfortable, a big entertainment hub, even just outside of football, maybe like a mall attached and things like that. All kinds of cool seating, like maybe seats that aren't just plain old foldable seats. Maybe they have some type of like warm feature for when it's cold, like all types of like just thinking outside of the box, imaginative in the future type of amenities and things like that just enhances the fan experience. Them going around and doing their due diligence and touring stadiums in person and meeting up with the owners of these teams and how they got it done and why they did what they did, the good and the bad, what they appreciate about their new stadiums, what they regret, what they wish they could have done or not have done with their stadiums. They're going around and asking all of these questions and taking a look at these stadiums in person so that they can try to build the perfect stadium when the FedEx Field current lease expires in 2027. And I'm really excited about that. Again, I'm not even a person that really cares about going to games like that. I prefer to sit at home, watch multiple games at the same time with my NFL Sunday ticket. I like watching like 6 games at a time. I like eating whatever I want to eat, eating pasta, fried chicken, whatever, and not having to pay $10 for a hot dog. But if that Washington football team stadium is even better than that Mercedes-Benz stadium down the street from me about 10 minutes away in Atlanta, I might have to go to a few games, you know what I'm saying? A unique stadium experience matters, especially to people like me who are homebodies and prefer to be at home while they're watching games. Like for me, I would like to go tailgate and be around Burgundy and Gold Nation, interacting with all the fans and like other media members and things like that. But I would like to go home during the game. But if our next stadium is super state-of-the-art, cutting edge, and is doing things that other stadiums have never done, and is just super revolved around giving the fans the best experience possible, I'm probably gonna pull up to a few games. I'll fly out to Maryland. I would definitely love a situation like Mercedes-Benz where when the weather's terrible, you close it, it's a dome. But when the weather's great, you open it up. I don't like those dome stadiums that are just permanent domes. Like it's just no matter how great the weather is outside, it's still a dome and it's enclosed off from the rest of the world. I like how Mercedes-Benz has the dome when it's bad and you can open it up when it's good. I hope they incorporate that. I hope they incorporate how the entire LA area is a big experience. I like how the Raiders Stadium looks like a Death Star. I just really hope they do something exciting and innovative. But TMZ also asked if they may potentially move out to LA, and they basically laughed it off and was like, nah, they love what they have going on in the DMV area between Maryland, DC, Virginia, and they plan on keeping the stadium within that area. They don't plan on moving to Los Angeles or anywhere random. They love the DMV and they want to keep the stadium in the DMV. And of course, with the lease ending in 2027, the stadium would have to start being built like relatively soon, and it could be done before 2027 because you can't play in a stadium that's not finished. So it's not like we have to wait till 2027 to know exactly what's going on with the stadium, because before 2027, the stadium may be done, and well before then, we'll start seeing them building it and we'll know which location it'll be, whether it be DC, Maryland, or Virginia. It more than likely, all signs are pointing to it going back to DC. It looks quite unlikely for it to end up in Maryland or Virginia. And previous reports all last year and even before that, Dan Snyder wants gambling in his stadiums. He wants to be able to have like casinos. He wants to have like fan involved gambling where the fans are able to play like the over and under the lines and things like that, the betting odds at the stadium. He wants a huge, super unique experience that only the Washington football team has, gambling and everything. I mean, it makes me excited that even Dan Snyder said state of the art and the best of the best. So I'm really excited. Again, for those of y'all that are curious, just based off of multiple reports and all of the clues that we're gathering, it looks like the new stadium will probably end up going back to DC. Where exactly in DC, not sure, but it's seeming like it's gonna be the Washington football team again, not the Landover football team. And we may still end up practicing in Virginia, but I believe the new stadium, most people believe the new stadium will end up being in DC in 2027 and beyond. And it's a random detail, but it's not just Jason Wright and Dan Snyder. Jason said it's about 12 of them that are working on this new stadium thing and going around, traveling around the world, taking a look at other people's stadiums. So that's really interesting in itself, that it's such a large group. It's not just them two and like a handful of guys. It's about 12 of them going around. So they're making sure they bring as many people on board to get as many ideas and as many different point of views as possible. I love the fact that they're doing their honest due diligence with this. And remember, like I reported a few days ago, FedEx Field is getting a completely new field makeover. Like the grass, like feet deep underground, all the way to the heating system, even the sodding, the way that it's watered, everything is getting a complete makeover, and they're expecting that to last until 2027 when they're ready to move on to a new location. And I'm willing to bet money it's gonna more than likely be in DC, and I'm willing to bet money that it's almost pretty much guaranteed it's not gonna be in Landover again, and they will not be renewing that FedEx Field lease at all. So yeah, man, be on the lookout for major moves Again, none of these two things, whether it be Jay-Z or the new stadium, necessarily directly correlate with how many games we should win in the future. But as a fan, I'm very excited about both of them. A new stadium, Jay-Z owning a piece of the team, I feel like helps with the overall brand, helps with bringing in new fans, recruiting new fans, especially the younger generations. Again, you're just not gonna find an 8-year-old Washington football team fan outside of the DMV unless like their parents had a strong influence on them. It just doesn't happen. And I feel like Jay-Z and a new stadium, a new rebranding, logo, name, all of that could definitely help with that in a major way. At the end of the day, all that matters is winning, and none of that directly correlates with winning. But again, as a fan, that still makes me very excited. And like I said, if that stadium is as great as I think it's going to end up being with how much effort and creativity they're putting behind this process, I'm going to have to pull up to a few games. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe. If you haven't, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get notification every time I release an informative and opinionated video like this one. As always, man, I really appreciate all of the support, man. Please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. I appreciate everybody that donates to the channel. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate all y'all. A special shouts out to my one All-Pro sponsor, Jaden. Man, I really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.